Daniel Santos, the guy we mentioned earlier, coming in at minus 175 against Johnny Munoz, plus 175 for Munoz. This is a rebooking over under 2.5 rounds, plus 155 for the over, minus 155 for the under. Was looking forward to this one, and then got canceled. I think was it Santos that had to pull out?
Yeah.
Because of weight cut issues.
Yeah.
But I don't think this is like a great turnaround. I mean, it's been like a month, so I don't know if it's it said injury. It doesn't say weight cut issues. So what's the injury, man? Like, what's the injury that you're dealing with? But he's still taking it. I don't know why. It had to have healed up. That's just what I'm gonna go with. And I was on Santos to begin with. And I think he just a little bit more dynamic on the feet, but with the injury, not very confident. I was very confident in it earlier, but with the injury and then making the comeback a month later, not as confident, I gotta say. But if he does win, he probably wins inside the distance. So that's probably the only way that I would play it. But Johnny Munoz hasn't really showed much in the UFC to get behind. Like his wins are Ludwig Shalinian and Jamie Simmons. Not the greatest, not the cream of the crop. His losses to Tony Gravely and Nate Maness, not the cream of the crop either. So he's kind of like a middling bantamweight. So I think Daniel Santos should win. The upside is much, much higher. But the question marks are concerning to me. What do you think?
Yeah, man, I really, really, really liked Daniel Santos when they were first supposed to fight a month ago. I was all over him. It was like minus 165, minus one, basically the same odds it is now. And I thought that was good enough to play for him. Here, like the things you mentioned, it makes you a little bit, weary of taking him just because of what happened a month ago. And yeah, they listed injury, but I want to say that I read something to where they called it an injury, but it was actually, weight cut issues or sickness or something like that. He wasn't actually injured by any means. So yeah, if it is just weight cutting issues, I mean, there's still kind of a concern. But I mean, you got a month to figure it out. So hopefully he's all good and ready to go because I think he's the better fighter here for sure. I think he's more well-rounded. You watch Johnny Munoz and even, before the UFC, you can tell like his striking has progressed, but it's also told me that this dude is a grappler and a submission artist who's picked up striking along the way and kind of gotten better and is continuing to improve. Whereas Daniel Santos, man, looks like a freak with the striking at times. He has power. He reminds me exactly of Charles Oliveira. I think you made the video of him, basically looking identical to him in there. And that's exactly his style too. I mean, he can crack, gets on the ground. He's got good jiu-jitsu, good defense too, as far as, wrestling and keeping fights standing or keeping fights where he wants them to be. He's pretty good in that department. And Johnny Munoz has a higher takedown average, but not a very high takedown accuracy. And that's against lower level guys who aren't as good as Daniel Santos. So if this thing stays on the feet, I just think Johnny Munoz, he might compete with in the first round, but eventually I just think he gets picked apart here by Daniel Santos. And like we've seen, man, Santos knocked out Castaneda. He's nasty on the feet. He's just I don't know, man. He's just a nasty fighter all the way around. He looks in there. He's aggressive. He looks to get you out of there. I think he's going to do the same against Johnny Munoz. I really do. Unless there is complications with an injury or the weight cut or something and Daniel Santos gasses out or just doesn't look good after the first round or two. But overall, man, I could see this one ending inside the distance. I think it does. But I'm rocking with Daniel Santos for sure here.
Yeah, I think he's just a little bit more dynamic.
Yeah, for sure.
Finish it on the feet, finish it on the ground too. So I'll take him.